What if I told you the world is drowning in over $300 trillion of debt, and most people don't even realize a financial crisis may already have begun? Governments are borrowing more than ever before. Economies are slowing down, and a growing number of experts warn that the global debt bubble could become the biggest economic threat of our lifetime. But when this debt finally breaks, who will pay the price? Global debt is the total sum of money owed by every government, corporation, and household across the world. For the past 2 decades, countries have relied heavily on borrowing to fuel economic growth, finance public services and welfare programs, and navigate through unexpected financial shocks. This trend accelerated dramatically following the global pandemic. In an effort to prevent a complete economic collapse, governments printed unprecedented amounts of money and took on massive new loans to support businesses and citizens. As a result, global debt has now soared to historic levels, far outpacing the growth of the global economy itself and creating a dangerously unbalanced system. This mountain of debt becomes truly dangerous when economies begin to slow down, but the cost of servicing that debt continues to climb. As central banks raise interest rates to combat inflation, countries are forced to divert more and more of their national income just to pay the interest on their old loans. This can create a vicious cycle where governments must borrow new money simply to repay their existing obligations, digging themselves into an even deeper hole. At the same time, this high interest rate environment puts a squeeze on the entire economy. Businesses face higher borrowing costs, leading to reduced investment and increased layoffs, while ordinary people struggle with persistent inflation and the rising cost of living. History has repeatedly shown us that this exact scenario, an economy choked by excessive debt, often ends in severe financial crises, widespread banking failures, or deep economic recessions. Today, the warning signs of a brewing crisis are already flashing around the world. We are seeing troubling indicators in nearly every major economy, from slowing GDP growth and fears of a housing market collapse to the rising risk of unemployment. Developing nations, many of which hold loans denominated in US dollars, are finding it increasingly difficult to make their payments as their own currencies weaken. Meanwhile, even the world's largest economies are running record government deficits, adding to the global debt pile at an alarming rate. The critical danger is a loss of confidence. If investors suddenly begin to doubt the ability of governments to repay their debts, they will demand higher interest rates, making it even more expensive to borrow. This could trigger a domino effect of market crashes, currency devaluations, and financial instability, the same way debt crises have historically begun. A global debt crisis isn't an event that happens overnight. It typically unfolds in stages, beginning with subtle but persistent signs like stubborn inflation, a prolonged economic slowdown, and growing financial stress on households and businesses. If left unaddressed, these pressures can escalate into a full-blown recession or sudden market panic. In response, governments might be forced to consider drastic measures. They could resort to printing even more money, which risks runaway inflation. They might impose higher taxes on citizens and corporations, which could further stifle economic activity. Or they could implement severe cuts to public spending on services like healthcare and education. The problem is that each of these solutions often creates a new set of painful economic problems for society to endure. The global debt crisis may not make headlines every single day, but its impact could ultimately shape the future of our economies, the stability of financial markets, and the security of your personal wealth. In the next video, we'll uncover how government debt in particular could become the trigger for the next great financial crisis. Stay tuned, your money could depend on it.